They say I was born Sporus, a name that now feels as flimsy and fleeting as the whispers that follow me through the imperial halls. But what was I before him? A boy, yes, a boy like countless others, living in the shadow of Rome, yet far from its searing, golden light. My world was small, bounded by the familiar streets of my neighborhood and the routines of my family. I was just another face in the bustling crowd, unremarkable, and utterly oblivious to the bizarre destiny that awaited me. My early days were not ones of grand prophecies or omens, just the quiet hum of everyday life, the rhythm of dawn breaking over the city, the simple chores that filled my hours. I remember the warmth of the sun on my face as I played in the dust, the scent of baking bread wafting from nearby stalls, and the easy laughter of children. There was a certain innocence to that time, a freedom from the heavy weight of expectation that now presses down on me. I was simply there, a son, a brother, a friend. A boy whose greatest worry was perhaps a scolding from my mother or a game lost to my peers. Then came the summons. Not for me, not directly. It was a ripple through our world, a decree from the palace seeking out those deemed suitable for service. The emperor, they said, needed new faces, new hands to tend to the myriad needs of his vast household. I was young, yes, but noticed for a certain delicacy, perhaps, a fairness of features, a softness of skin that even then seemed to draw the eye of those looking for a specific kind of beauty. It wasn't a choice, not truly. When the emperor's will rushes against your life, you don't choose. You are chosen. It feels less like an invitation and more like an irresistible current pulling you into the depths. The journey to the palace was a blur of nervous excitement and growing trepidation. Each step brought me closer to a world I could only have imagined. The sheer scale of it, the opulence, the constant movement of slaves, soldiers, and courtiers, it was overwhelming. The air itself seemed to hum with power and intrigue. I was a small fish pulled from a shallow, familiar pond and dropped into the vast, turbulent, and utterly alien ocean of imperial Rome. Every gilded corridor, every hushed conversation, every stern glance from a guard reinforced the feeling that I was no longer the boy from the simple streets. My initial days were filled with learning the intricate dance of palace life, the rigid hierarchy, the unspoken rules that could mean the difference between favor and ruin, the art of blending in while remaining ever-present, ready to serve. I was taught how to move silently, how to anticipate needs, had to exist on the periphery of power without ever truly touching it. I learned the names of the powerful, the whispers of their desires, and the subtle currents of influence that ebbed and flowed through the court. I was a ghost, observing, learning, and trying desperately not to draw too much attention. But then, the emperor, Nero, saw me. It wasn't a casual glance, not a passing observation. It was an intense, piercing gaze that seemed to strip away everything I thought I was. He saw something in me, something beyond the usual array of servants and courtiers, and what he saw, he wanted to mold, to possess, to transform into his own twisted vision. He was consumed by grief, by a morbid obsession with Poppaea, his deceased wife, and for reasons I could not comprehend, he saw her in me. It began subtly, with gifts, with closer attention, with a strange, possessive tenderness that felt both alluring and deeply disturbing. He would study my face, my hands, my movements, as if searching for a familiar echo. Then came the requests, the suggestions, the slow, deliberate stripping away of my identity. My hair was styled like hers, elaborate coiffures that felt foreign and heavy on my head. My clothes, once simple tunics, became the flowing, richly embroidered gowns of a Roman noblewoman. My mannerisms were tutored, refined, forced to mimic hers until I barely recognized myself in the polished bronze mirrors. He called me Sabina, her full name. He called me Poppaea. It was terrifying, and, I must confess, in a dark, twisted way, intoxicating. To be the object of an emperor's desire, even if that desire was born of a profound and destructive grief, was a power I had never imagined. It was a power that consumed me, reshaped me, and isolated me from all I had ever known. I was no longer Sporus, not truly. I am whatever Nero wills me to be, a living doll, a mirror reflecting his sorrow and his madness. I walk these gilded halls not as a man, but as a shadow of a woman I never knew, forever bound to the whims of an emperor who saw in me only what he had lost. My origin isn't of birth, but of a bizarre, violent rebirth, a transformation into something I never asked to be and can never truly escape. Every day is a performance, every interaction a subtle dance between my fading self and the woman I am forced to embody. And in the quiet moments, when the palace is still, I sometimes catch a glimpse of the boy I once was, a fleeting whisper of a name that feels impossibly far away.